Hello and welcome everybody. Dear students, I hope all of you are doing well. I also expect you are safe and staying healthy. This is very challenging time, but I expect you can find something creative in your time. Now let's start our today class. We would like to discuss about the biological database. That means our topic is biological databases, and this is the lecture number 3, and before starting this class we have to remember, or we have to recap what actually we discussed in our previous classes. Let's do recap our last lectures topics. Key objectives with ICT that we discussed in our classes, along with adaptation ICT in agriculture, challenges in agriculture, benefits of ICT in agriculture, and the last one, factors promoting ICT in agriculture. If we go forward, then we can try to remember what are the factors actually promote in agriculture. A lot of factors, a number of factors actually impacts, and among them the key factors that we can remember. Suppose here you see reducing cost, increasing awareness, and improving reliability is the most effective way to increase e-commerce uses in the agriculture. So these are the key promoting factors. So now we have to discuss about database. That means, what is database? Simply, a database is a collection of data that will be structured and also will be searchable. That means database can be searched by using index, table of content, and database will be updated according to the time. That means periodically can release new edition, and database also will be cross reference. That means it can support hyperlinks. That is, one database will be connected with other database. So as part of example, I put here one example as a database, flood database. You can see this is the flood database, and here under this flood database I put some of the data fields name. Suppose I put here institute, number, names, location, and crops, along with varieties names and breeders. All of the data fields name that we will discuss in later according to tabular format. So in case of database, actually also includes associated tools or software. When someone want to develop a database, so they have to use some of the tools or software like this that are necessary actually for database access or query, database updating, database information insertion, and database deletion also. So I put here some of the examples of tools or software that are widely used. either for general database or biological database. So I put here suppose you know BLAST is the BLAST is the widely used biological database that stands for basic local alignment search tool. Another example also we can write here Python BioPython and then NCBI means actually we can NCBI actually is the primary BLAST, that means National Center for Biotechnological information. So all of this actually in case of database. Now we can go for the next slide. Now we can discuss about a relational database example that we discussed already in our previous slide as a flat database, and the same database actually is splitted here according to tables, in that means tabular format. Here have 3 table. You can see table A, table B and table C and table C. So if we see from the table A actually have 4 data fields. One is institute number, then institute number, name, location and crops. Table B also have 2 data fields. One is crops as like table A, and another one is varieties names. And table C also 2 data fields. One is varieties name and another one is breeders. So from these tables we can see table A is related to table B, that means table A is related to table B and table B is related to table C. So what is the benefit of this tabular format database? Because information is splitted here, and if we want to retrieve or want to find any data by searching any keyword or index, then it will be very easy to find out our required or necessary data from the developed database. So from this tabular database, if we consider one query, suppose here have 5 institute. You can see from table A the institute name is Bari, Bao, Sao and BSMRAU. So 2 institute, Bari and BSMRAU, is located in Gazipur district, and they produce the variety Lao, and the Lao also have the varieties names Bari Lao 1 and BSMRAU Lao name is actually BU Lao 1. So if we ask anyone, or if we want to find how many varieties actually are developed from Gazipur district, then we have to go to table A. From table A we can see number 1, the Bari, also located in Gazipur district, and BSMRAU also located in Gazipur district. So two institute actually located in Gazipur district, and they produce the crops allow, and according to the information, that means according to the data allow, if we want to find the breeders names from BSMRAU, we can find the BSMRAU 1 actually is developed by Professor Dr. A.K.M. Aminul Islam. So in this way actually we can find out, or we can search any data or information very easily if we split the all data or information according to the relational database. So database is simply any organized collection of data, and here we put some examples. First one is database of DNA sequences for important plant genes. Second one is silk disc, and third one is malt disc. Silk disc actually a comprehensive silkworm disease and pest database. As like silk disc, malt disc also a comprehensive mulberry disease and pest database. So what is silkworm? If we want to know, silkworm actually insect that eats mulberry leaves also, and silk disc actually organism specific database, and mulberry is flowering plants that we can write here. Suppose silkworm insects that eats mulberry leaves. In the same way, what is mulberry? Mulberry we mentioned already, flowering plants. So we have some other examples here that I already put here. You can see examples of telephone book, TV guide, airline reservation system, motor vehicle registration records, papers in your filing cabinet, files on your computer hard drive. These are actually very simple examples. So in short, database will be comprehensive but must be easy to search. It can be annotated but not too annotated. That means database must have supplementary file that will describe about the database, but it must be short and simple. And in general, database will be simple, easy to understandable structure, and database must support cross reference. That means by using hyperlink, one database will be connected with other database, so that it will be easy to access or retrieve any information or data from the developed database. And database must support minimum redundancy. That means database will have minimum duplicacy. That means duplicate data will be less, and most of all, and in most cases actually easy retrieval of data will be the feature in case of database development. So now we have to know about the database terminologies. Here have three terminology term that we can discuss. One is entry, second one is value, and third one is query. Uh, First of all, we have to know what is actually entry. Entry actually simply is record, also called an entry. Simply when we develop a data table, actually table fields represents as the data entry that hold the actual data items. For example, fields for names, phone number, address, and dates. All of this actually data entry. And then we have to know what is data value. When we put the real data in respect of each of the data fields, that represent as the data value. That means to retrieve a particular record from a database, a user can specify a particular piece of information that called the value, and in a particular field, and expect the computer to retrieve the whole data record. Suppose if we consider a student table may contains the data fields name, suppose student name, student contact informations, and address and registration number, or like this. So all of this actually the data fields, and in respect of student names, if we put the name Rohim, Korim, XYZ, all of these are actually data value. Then query. What is actually query? Query in generally actually we ask someone by asking the questions actually. So this procedure also in case of database known as asking the question from the database, the process is actually query. So this is the process is called making a query. By using query actually we can retrieve or reveal any data or information from the developed database. Now we have to know data versus information. First of all, what is actually data? Data is very simple. We already discussed many times. Suppose according to the definition, data can be defined in many ways, and in information sciences that defines data actually unprocessed information on or unorganized data, unorganized information. That means data simply raw materials. Suppose student name Rohim is a data, Korim is a data, X is a data, farmer's name or farmer's contact number also simply represents as a data. And also if I ask, or if anybody asks someone what is the yield of the crop, then the result, then the answer actually it would be 4.5 or 3 is also represents data. Then we have to know the information. What is information? Information is the data that have been organized. This is very important. Organized and communicated in a coherent and meaningful manner. That means if we process data, then it represents information. That means unorganized and unprocessed data, when we processed and it will be organized, it treated as a information. So data So data actually is converted into information, and after that information is converted into knowledge. And then what is knowledge? Knowledge actually, if we evaluate information, and it will be organized so that it can be useful purposefully. So data simply raw materials. When we process it, then it represents as information, and after evaluation information we get it knowledge, and from the knowledge actually we can use for doing something as a action, or any decision making purpose. Actually we can apply our knowledge that reveals from the evaluated information. So now we have to know the differences between data and information that we discussed already. Data is a raw material, simple thing. Data is unorganized facts that need to be processed. An example, we keep many examples already, and is students test score is one piece of data. Suppose if we want to know what is the result of a student, then if you reply he or she got GPA 4.5, the 4.5 is actually data. And then after that information, when we already mentioned, data actually is processed, information is processed. After processing data, it represents information. That means data is when it represent, actually when data is processed, when data is organized, structured, or presented in a given context so as is to it useful, it is called information. So now we can remember the previous table that we discussed in our earlier slides. From this table we here have 4 data fields: in institute number, name, location, and crops. All of these are data fields, and each of the data fields actually contains some of the real data. Suppose there is 1, 2, 3, all of these are data. That means the data entry, data value. In institute name is the entry or data fields, and 1, 2, 3 actually the data value. So BARI, BAU, BSMRAU, all of this actually data value, and Gazipur, Mymensingh also all of these are data value. So from here BARI is a data, but when we want to know the location of the BARI, the location is actually the Gazipur, and this is information. That means when someone asks something, or when want to get more details, information and data, that represents actually as a information. That means where BSMRAU actually is located, then the result, then the answer. Now we have to know the purpose or benefits of a database system. We already discussed actually how data actually processed. After processing, data becomes information. From information actually comes as a knowledge, and knowledge actually we can use for decision making. So this is the transform circle, and we can put here the first one is data. After, because data is raw materials, so after if we make it organized, or after processing, it will becomes informations, and after informations, if we evaluate it, then it becomes knowledge, and knowledge can be used for action or decision. action or decision making. So this is the actually data transform circle. From data we may get information, from information we may get knowledge. Knowledge can be used for decision making or action. And then in case of agriculture, we know the genome sequencing. Suppose the genome sequencing of the plants and along with animals provides number of benefits. So in case of agriculture, the genome sequencing of the plants or animals provides a number of benefits. In that case, actually we need a large number of database, or we have to maintain actually the database. Then the database actually in general provides details information. Suppose database provide details informations about the diseases and pests, regarding places, also about the mode of infection, along with biotic and abiotic factors. And now we come to the point why biological database, or why we need biological database or maintain. In that case, actually because of exponential growth, suppose we put already here exponential growth in biological data. That means we know biological data sets has tremendously increased depending on time, and some very important data sets, suppose regarding genome sequence, suppose regarding genome sequences, 3D structures, 2D gel analysis, MS analysis, microarrays. All of these are very important data sets that we cannot publish in a conventional manner, but we must put it inside a structured database, or that means we have to publish or submit it into a database. So we can tell actually database is a essential tools for biological research, because database are important tools in assisting scientists to analyze and explain a host of biological phenomena. So we also can tell biological database also play a central role in bioinformatics. Now we have to define biological database according to the definition. Simply, a biological database is a computerized archive that is used to store, for organize, or easy or ease retrieval of sequence data. So in this way, actually we can define a biological database is a computerized archive used to store, used to organize, or for the easy retrieval of sequence data. So a database typically supports the following operations or actions. The first one is retrieval, that we mentioned already. Database also will support insertion. After insertion, it will be updated according to the time or depending on time, and in some cases some of the information or data must be deleted. That means database also have to be supported by deletion. So a database typically supports the following operations. Operations are retrieval, insertion, updating, and deletion. And in case biological database, actually simply we can tell store or retrieve biological information. That is the main purpose or for developing biological databases. So a biological database actually can be thought as a large table where row represents record and columns represents data fields. So if from this data table, if we consider this data table according to the definition, actually row represents the record. So here have the how many rows? Rows number 1, 2, 3, 4. So here have 4 records, and columns represents actually fields. So here have the columns, column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here have 6 data column represent fields. So here have 6 fields. So database can be thought as a large table where row represents record, column represents fields. And from this example, actually here have 6 data fields and 4 data records. And then the organization of records allows for querying on the data to retrieve information from the database. Suppose someone developed a database, but they need the specific information, then they can retrieve or reveal their desired information by applying query or accessing query. And in that case, actually also we can tell an ideal biological database has fields as shown below that we already mentioned. That means accession an ideal biological database has the fields that we already discussed. Suppose accession number, name, length, sequence, taxonomy along with references. Now we have to know where to look for biological databases or where from we get the biological data. Suppose search engine, journals, and websites. We know Google is the most widely used search engine where from we may get any kind of information regarding also biological data. The way also, the technique also, how we can get the freely available biological related data, and the journals that related to bioinformatics, and suppose nucleic acid research, that means NAR, online database issues. So what stands for NAR? Then the abbreviation actually nucleic acid research. And then websites, just I put here expacy.cs as an example of website. We will discuss number of websites where actually the biological data easily available, or where from actually we can download or we can get access by our related or required data. We will discuss later. Now we have to know the importance of biological databases, why we need. Suppose for handling and sharing large volume of biological data, this is very important. Biological database is also important because it represents an invaluable resources for supporting biological research that we mentioned in our earlier slides. And in some cases actually not only for sequence, and biological database in most cases actually link based. So link knowledge to sequence data, suppose cross referencing, because most sequence database are cross linked to load of biological information. Suppose gene protein information, structural information, pathways and biological processes literature. Now from this slide you can see the picture of the lady. Actually she actually Margaret Oakley Diop from Columbia University. Yes, actually she introduced the first protein sequence and structure database. That means biological database means atlas of protein sequences and structure from 1965. Actually the first database actually include 65 protein sequences, and that are actually updated regularly depending on the. Now we can discuss the 10 important biological databases. The 10 important databases is here, along with the links from where you can find, and the properties or features, all of this. So first of all, GenBank DDJB, actually it will be DDBJ EMBL. It actually nucleotide sequences database, that means nucleic acid sequence data bank. Then EMBL actually European Molecular Biology Laboratory, that stands for. So if we want to ask what stands for EMBL, then the answer will be European Molecular Biology Laboratory. DDJB actually data bank of Japan. Then next on is ENACMBL. It is actually includes human and mouse genome. That means it is actually scientific project. This is actually scientific project. So we can tell this is tools for manipulation, analysis and visualization purposes. And next one is PubMed. You know, this is actually very well-known literature references. Actually this is freely accessible. PubMed is freely accessible. Depends on the Medline database. Actually it is called Medline database. And then next one is ENR. ENR means actually non-redundant. After this SwissProt, InterPro, all of this actually includes protein sequences or protein domains. So SwissProt actually curated protein sequence database, and InterPro actually integrated resources of protein. So InterPro, what stands for InterPro? Then we can mention integrated resources of protein. And then OMIM. OMIM also actually the genetic diseases database. That means online Mendelian inheritance in men. That stands for OMIM. OMIM stands for actually online Mendelian inheritance in men. And then enzymes, that we already discussed in our earlier slides. It includes enzymes. PDB, protein database, it is very widely used also. And next one is KEGG, Kyoto Encyclopedia of Genes and Genomes. Actually it includes metabolic pathways. So now we come to the summary, and here actually we can define again what is database that we discussed in our earlier slides. Suppose a database is a computerized archive that are used to store and organize data in such a way that information can be retrieved easily via a variety of search criteria. So simply, a database is a computerized archive used to store and organize data in such a way that information can be retrieved easily via a variety of search criteria. Then we can also mention database actually composed of computer hardware and software for data management. And we can give some examples. Actually, we can give some examples. Suppose, for example, database containing raw sequences related information that can perform extra computational tasks for identifying sequence homology or conserve motifs. These features actually facilitate the discovery of new biological insights from raw data. This is very important. So as part of summary, what is perfect database? Actually, database that will be a structured collection of information that must be consist of basic units that we called records or entries, and each record consists of fields which hold predefined data related to the record. So for example, if we consider a protein database, that would have the protein entries as the records and protein properties will be as the fields. Suppose name of protein, length, amino acid sequences, all of these fields, and each of the fields actually may contain the data value. So why do we need a database? If we want to know the chief objective, actually to organize data that we mentioned earlier in a set of structured records to enable easy retrieval of information. This is the main thing actually. When we store some data in a structured way, then this is the main purpose for retrieving or retrieval actually, so that we can easily access or get the information according to our desire. So we can also mention database is very important for keep records of patrons, staff. It is also essential to keep a record of activities and interventions. It is important for keep service records, develop reports. It also perform in case of a database, actually it is important for perform searching, and this is also important for longitudinal tracking. Now we can discuss for our forward lecture, that means in our next lecture what we can discuss. Suppose types of databases we will try to discuss in details, and then we will discuss about file format. After that we will try to discuss categories of databases for life sciences. Then NCBI databases and services we will also try to discuss, and then important things, database architecture also we will discuss in our next slide, in next lecture. All of this actually includes a database architecture. Just I show.